Like most things in life, leadership is both an art and a skill. But there are some rules that you can cling to that will help you on your way. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And we are working on a series about leadership that is based upon the book called The Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun by Wess Roberts, MD. Strongly recommend you read that book. I'm going to be reading portions of it and make some explanations based on a personal experience to see how these rules actually are practical. And sometimes they're common sense, and other times they kind of go against the grain, but you learn them by experience. So let's go again. Next rule, timing. Essential to all acts of leadership is the timing of recommendations and actions. There is no magic formula for developing a sense of timing. One often gains this leadership skill by applying the lessons learned through failure. Knowing whom you are dealing with, their motives, characters, priorities, and ambitions are critical elements even when seeking approval of the simplest recommendation. Okay, let's talk about timing. Now, timing, an example I want to give to you is when I started working with this company where I became a divisional vice president. I was working with them, and they asked me to go and help out with an office, and I did that in Oklahoma City and was successful there. And then I called up, I went back to being just sort of a regular Joe and got bored being a regular Joe, because once you taste, leadership, it's like, hey, once you taste it, you want it. So I called back the big boss, Bob Anderson, and said, hey, Bob, I'm bored. You got something else for me? He said, as a matter of fact, I do. How would you like to go to the Queen City, Cincinnati, Ohio? We need you to do the same thing there that you did in Oklahoma City. I said, send me the tickets, I'm there. So I went to Cincinnati, and essentially was able to get that office up and running from scratch. The home office was thrilled. They had a guy that they could send airplane tickets to and get an office up and running. Wow. Okay, I didn't know how valuable what I was doing was. I was humble, and then Bob Anderson said to me, you have plane tickets to go back to California, but we like what you've done. We'd like you to come and stay with my wife and me. You can live in our house, and I will work with you personally. We're looking to help you to grow. Would you be interested in that opportunity? Wow. Yes. Okay, a chance to work with the man. It's like living in Bill Belichick's house or living with John Wooden. All right, I mean that was a scenario. So there I was. I flew down to West Palm Beach, lived in the house, worked with the Miami office, worked with the West Palm office, was helping to get them going, developing leaders, so on and so forth, and we're doing pretty well. Until finally I said, what am I doing here? I want to be the manager of my own office. Okay, right now I'm a helper. I'm getting paid, a pittance, but I could be managing my own office and making some really huge money. But I paid my dues. I was in a position of strength. All right, I was in a position of strength. So I turned to Bob Anderson one morning during breakfast and I said, Bob, I'm ready to manage my own office. Wouldn't you agree? I closed him. I knew he would appreciate that. Wouldn't you agree? And he said, yes, you are. And so then we worked out where I was going to go. He wanted me to go to Minneapolis, which I'm sure is an outstandingly fine city, but living in Santa Cruz, California, I kind of wanted that kind of weather. It was decided to take San Diego. Now, San Diego had an existing manager, but he wasn't doing all that well, so it wasn't a real difficult choice for them to have me come in and replace him, because the bottom line is results, is it not? So anyway, I went to San Diego, but the key thing is I asked for the position when I had a position of strength. Timing is everything. Now, that was kind of easy, but, and think about it in your personal life, all right? If you want to, ask the big question of a woman, Eli, you want to get married, all right? You want to have a position of strength, right? Does that make sense? This is what I have to offer. I'd like you to share your life with me. You would benefit, I would benefit. I love you, I hope you love me, boom, boom, boom. All right, position of strength. So looking for opportunities, timing is everything. Competitiveness. An essential quality of leadership is an intrinsic desire to win. It is not necessary to win all the time. However, it is necessary to win the important contests. Chieftains must understand that the competition inside and outside our nation is strong and not to be taken lightly. A sense of competitive anger drives those who win on the battlefield, in negotiations, and in situations of internal strife. A leader without a sense of competitiveness is weak and easily overcome by the slightest challenge. Wow. That was one of the things that was taught to us. And once again, Bob Anderson used his principles, and recommended this book to me while I was living in his house. Competitiveness is so critical. We would compete, office versus office, all right? The San Jose office would compete against the Anaheim office. I remember the lady that was running the Anaheim office, once I got my office in San Diego, very, very competitive lady named Devry, okay? Tremendously charismatic woman, wow, all right? And so she wanted to take on her, competition, and you're calling the other office and you're trash talking, and you would have a prize for the team that won, and so on. And so she took on Seattle, our Seattle office. Okay, so she put up signs all over, rattle Seattle, battle Seattle. All right, and then they named their team the Celtics, not CELTICS, but SELLTICS, the Celtics. All right. These are the things that leaders do. First of all, they themselves are competitive. They want to win. If I was competing with another office, I wanted to beat that office badly, and if I was competing within my office, as once I started in my office in San Jose as a production representative. First week was a small week. Second week was my first full week. From that second week on to the time I left to become a manager someplace else, I was the number one producer. And I would look at the board every day. And if somebody was ahead of me, I would say, they're not going to beat me this week. I would make comments, on the board. I would say, you're going to need to get some cleanser, because my name is at the top of the board. It's been there so long, you probably can't even erase it. All sorts of trash talking. And it's the competitive nature that makes someone go the extra mile. It's one of the factors that makes somebody go the extra mile. And be competitive in training, okay? We'd have speed competitions. How fast can you do the presentation? All right? Or, let's see you do all sorts of different competitions you would have. Those things drive people. It takes the mundane and makes it more exciting. It's the difference between, as an example, Eli playing basketball. You're out on the court, you're there, you're shooting around, you're throwing up shots, and then someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, Eli, let's have a game of horse. Let's see who's a better shooter." All right, my competitive juices are flowing. Do you follow what I'm saying? You have to expand that. And as a leader, not only do you want to be competitive because people follow the leader. They're starving for leadership. The question that they're asking as a leader is, do I want to be him? Do I want to be her? Is that what I want to do? Competitiveness. You've got to do that. And Bob Anderson, you always used to say, competition equals cash. And I can tell you, absolutely, it certainly does. Next one, self-confidence. Proper training and experience develops in chieftains a personal feeling of assurance with which to meet the inherent challenges of leadership. Those who portray a lack of self-confidence in their abilities to carry out leadership assignments give signs to their subordinates, peers, and superiors that their duties are beyond their capabilities. They become, therefore, weak leaders and useless chieftains. Okay. You got to be careful on this though. Self-confidence. You want to be cocky, but not. You want to have a little bit of arrogance, but as Bob used to always say, be cocky with a cause, not cocky without a cause. All right. So you have to have something that you're going for. You have to have something that you've done. Now, self-confidence. Let me give you a couple of examples on that. First of all, when they sent me from my office in San Diego to Oklahoma City or Cincinnati where there was nobody there and said, hey, Eli's dad, let's go, let's build an office there, you can do it. I knew I could do it. Why? Because I had done it in San Jose. I had done all of the different steps. It was all laid out for me. It was a blueprint. I followed it. I owned it. I knew what to do. I had seen it work. I knew if I said A, I could get result B. You follow what I'm saying? So you have that sense of confidence. And that helped me a great deal because I had some trials and tribulations, especially in Oklahoma City, my first place that I went. And I had to keep saying to myself, okay, it's a game of numbers. It'll work out. Keep doing the right thing and right things will happen for you. And that turned out to be exactly the case. So having that confidence is essential. Let me give you a different scenario with that. One of the rules that we had is that there was a hierarchy in the office. You started in this position and then boom, 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 and you go up the ladder. Now you were responsible as an individual. One of our mantras was, you're responsible for the success of the person immediately above you and the person immediately below you. So that way, you were there to help in either case. Now, as the manager of the office, there wasn't anybody particularly above me. Bob Anderson was above me, but he was, in Florida, and there I am in San Diego. So essentially, I'm responsible to the people that are in my leadership group. Now, they're out in the field as the manager of the office, with the office producing what it needed to produce. I didn't have to go out into the field. I was in the office doing office things, okay? But when one of my leaders was having a difficult time out in the field, remember, this is commission only. If you're not running business, you're not making money. I would hop into the car with them and say, let's go out together. I would do a presentation. They would do a presentation, and we kind of compare notes, and then I would see, we need to tweak this, we need to tweak that, or also let them know what they're doing right. You're doing this right, you're doing that right, you're doing this right, you're doing that right, so that they don't sit there and question the things that they're doing right. And I had a confidence. It was always like, hey, let's get in the car together, we'll go out, we'll write some business, we'll have some fun tonight. And invariably, I can't remember a single time, to be candid with you, that I went out in the field with somebody and did not write business with one of my leaders. And after we wrote business, after the first business was written, because we'd write one and then we'd go on to the next one. All right, after business was written, I would always say, the legend continues. All right, and why is that important? Because we're teaching people certain skills, and when they see you make that performance using and utilizing the skills that you're teaching them, that gives them confidence that if they do it, it's going to work for them just as they're watching it work for me. Does that make sense? So it's a reinforcement as well. It adds to your credibility as the leader. Once again, the question that people are asking in a scenario where they're looking to move up, and as anybody is when they're going to work, is, do I want to be that person? That's the position I want. Do I want to be him? Do I want to be her? That's the question you're asking. So you want to be doing things that you say, I got the confidence, I've done it, I've been there, done that, I know it'll work this way, trust me. And then when they see you do it, wow, okay, it just cements the bond that you have with that person, and they're willing to do more for you. Why? You did something for them, and they're seeing that, like, this guy knows his stuff. That is critical. So self-confidence is a critical trait. Okay, next time we get together, let's go over some more leadership secrets. And until that time, remember, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.